That's
But
fun.
speaking of fights, today is going to be a fighting day, apparently.
Oh.
I'm ready.
Oh my God.
Shruti, do you want to tell us what 2 movies you recommended for the podcast this week?
I picked Uncut Gems and Good Times by the
Yay.
Safdie brothers.
You having a good time?
Yes.
This is me. This is how I win.
Yeah, the 2 Safdie brother films. I know we have mixed responses here. I guess we could start with Shruti before we like dive into
That's
like any
good.
kind of debate.
Yeah.
But Shruti, why did you want to talk about these movies, or like just a general overview about why you wanted to bring them up or what you wanted to talk about?
I personally think Uncut Gems was the best film of 2019, but I know it's like really controversial. I tell people like, oh, go watch it. You're either gonna hate it or you're gonna really like it. And I know some people in this call right now might hate it, but you know, that's fine. That's what movies are for. But I really liked it. It made me feel really stressful and anxious the whole time, but I couldn't stop watching. And then I chose Good Time because after I saw Uncut Gems, JJ was like, you have to watch Good Time. Like, you just have to. So then I had really high expectations when I saw that film. And I mean, I liked it. I liked Uncut Gems a lot better, but it was still good. And Robert Pattinson.
Okay, I was scared you were about to say you didn't like Good Time, and I'm like, oh, so am I going to be on an island for that one?
Aw.
That's interesting. Yeah, but saying Uncut Gems is your favorite of 2019, that's a big statement considering how many great films came out last year.
Yeah.
I didn't realize how much of a mixed response Uncut Gems would have. Like when it first came out, it seemed like everyone loved it. And then I also loved it. So I'm like, oh, this must be a universal thing. But as more people have watched it, especially with it being on Netflix now, I've seen more of a split response, which is very interesting to me. But we could go, like, Parvati or Emma could start on this mixed response.
You know, maybe I'll go because I think my response is not as strong as Emma's. So I think I'll like, ease into it.
Actually, let's start with Uncut Gems, and then we can do Good Time as like the second movie. Yeah.
Okay.
Choice.
Okay. So we're starting with Good Time, huh?
No, I just said
No,
starting with
Uncut
Uncut
Gems.
Gems.
Oh, sorry. I don't know why it switched my head. Okay.
Good job, cousin.
So I saw Uncut Gems in theaters around the time that it came out, and I was like, I went into it really not knowing what to expect because the trailer kind of doesn't say a lot about what the movie is
Yeah, trailer's not that good.
Yeah,
pretty lackluster trailer from A24, in my opinion.
Yeah, so I like had no idea what I was gonna like see going into it, and also I haven't seen a lot of stuff that Adam Sandler has done too, so I was just like overall had no idea what I was getting into. And when I watched it at first, like I left the theater, like I'm gonna be honest, I left the theater being like really disappointed because I was like, I really spent money like to watch this movie, just because I felt stressed, like I had the same feeling of like stress and things, but at the same time, I didn't feel like I actually enjoyed like being like watching the whole thing go down. And it just felt like you know how films can make you like uncomfortable, but they make you feel uncomfortable in a good way, so you like actually want to know what happens next. Like I think it was we were like barely halfway through the film, and by that time I was like, why am I still here? Because I just didn't want to be watching it anymore, because I felt very like, yes, it's stressing me out, but I don't feel like I care about any of the characters, and I don't feel like I really want anything to happen. Like I don't really understand a lot of it, and so when I left I felt very like, oh, I didn't really like it, so I wasn't planning on watching it again. But I'm glad that I watched it again a second time, because the second time around I did see a lot of like things that I didn't notice the first time. Like a lot more of it worked for me than it did before, which I'm glad to say, because it feels like maybe just the first experience I didn't like it that much, and this time around I was able to like see more critically into it, I think. So there's a lot more that I did like about it, but again, I don't think it's one of those movies that I would really like watch again, just because it still gives me that weird feeling of like I don't care as much about the characters as I want to, and I still feel like this uncomfortable feeling that doesn't make me want to rewatch it again. But it was a better response than I thought I would have again. So I don't hate it. I just dislike it less now.
Okay.
Yes.
I mean, before Emma goes, can I just say, like, you watching it Uncut Gems, which is like around Christmas time, was not the worst movie you could have watched in theaters because Cats came out at the exact same time.
I'm
So,
sorry.
yeah.
Cats is fantastic. No, I was kidding.
Oh
No.
my gosh.
No, I haven't seen it, but I just feel like I want to defend it. I just feel like I want to, even though I hate cats. Oh,
One of my
cats.
friends
Well,
really
no,
wanted to watch Uncut Gems on Christmas, so we went to theaters, but it was sold out. So I convinced him to get us Cats tickets.
Oh, that's how you saw
Uh,
it.
and he was so mad at the end of Cats. He was like, I could have watched Uncut Gems. And he finally just watched Uncut Gems like 2 weeks ago on
wow.
Netflix, and he loves
Yeah.
it.
Oh,
It's,
okay.
he's always going like, AKG. And then like, what? I'm like, what do you want? But yeah, Emma, go ahead. I guess you
yeah.
can go. Yeah.
So obviously I don't like Uncut Gems.
Okay.
But I will say I've thought about it a lot about why I don't like it, and I completely think it's only personal preference. There's nothing to do with the movie itself. So like I don't really have a lot to attack the movie for cuz it's fine. Like but it's just not my type of movie. I didn't have any expectations really going into it. Kind of just was like, oh, it's on Netflix, cool. And I watched it and I was like, oh. And like halfway through, I was like, God, I'm so bored right now. I really want to turn it off. And I had to pause it and go do something and then come back to it because I just was not in it. Literally, it didn't. I was expecting myself to get thrown into it eventually, but it just never happened. And I just didn't care about the plot or the characters or literally anything. I was just like, God, I want this to be over. And like none of it worked. Like none of the like stressful situations made me feel stressed. So I just, and okay, I will say I do have personal bias. I don't like Adam Sandler.
I knew you were gonna say that.
I hate Adam Sandler, like with a burning passion.
Wow, you've never explained why you don't like Adam Sandler.
I
Like,
just
do you not
hate
like his
him.
movies, or it's just like
I don't like his movies. I don't like him. I don't like his attitude. I just don't like him.
I love him.
Yeah, well,
I feel like he knows he's in bad movies all the time. Like I think he's so self-aware about that.
yeah,
And like I
but-
thought he brought like a real like I don't know, the love maybe is that the word to Uncut Gems that he usually doesn't to other movies. Like he actually had a passion for this project, and like that's why I don't understand with the where the Adam Sandler.
I just don't. It's there's a lot of like actors that you just see and you're just like, oh no.
Like me with Jake Gyllenhaal.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I don't get that.
That's exactly what it is, though, JJ. That's what I mean. It's kind of just like this built-in hatred for this. It started because I hated the movies that he was in, and then I just deeply associate him with that, and I just am like.
That makes sense. That was the kind of explanation I was looking for because it seemed like the hate was just independent of anything.
I just hate him. So that's another, but I did put that aside while watching the movie. I will say I did a good job of like pushing away my hatred.
Okay.
But but it's not because of anything that the movie could have done that would have made me like it more. Like it's hard to explain, but I know that other people totally would watch it and enjoy it, and I understand that, and I can see why, but I just don't.
If Jonah Hill was the lead, which was like originally the plan because they couldn't get Adam Sandler, would you have liked the movie more if Adam Sandler?
Probably not. That would not fit.
I don't know.
I feel like Jonah Hill could have fit.
I can't see him in that role. I don't know.
I can't
Yeah,
either.
I
It
can't
seems like an
either.
Adam Sandler.
Yeah, Jonah. I don't know.
Adam Sandler was perfect for the role, but I could see Jonah Hill in it. The only problem with Jonah Hill for me is he seems kind of young, but he is like Jewish, I think. I mean, Feldstein, right? That's his Beanie. Feldstein's his sister. Yeah, and I feel like he can pull off like that type of role, especially since he's worked with like Scorsese before. But Shruti, do you want to talk about Adam Sandler's performance? Just so if he's listening, sorry, Adam.
I don't feel bad at all.
Ignore
I don't like
Adam.
you.
I love you, Adam. Hello, my name is Shruti. I thought his performance was great. Like, I was really excited. Like, I didn't watch the trailer before watching the film. I just went in to go watch it because he was in it, and it wasn't like a stupid comedy. even though I love his stupid comedies. Emma, yeah, I do.
Emma shook her head no, by the way, guys.
Yeah, I know.
But I don't know. I was really excited to see because I looked into it and they were trying to get him for 10 years and he kept saying no or wouldn't read the script until they like made Good Time, and that's when that's when he was like, "Oh, these guys, they seem cool." And his performance, it changed my whole perception of him. Like I looked at him completely differently. He did this film to show everybody like, "Oh, yeah, I make these shitty comedies, but I can make movies like this too." And they really wanted him for this role because they wanted a character that you kind of hate and despise because they're a terrible person, but you also kind of love and you hope the best for. I mean, I don't know if I don't know if you
can't relate to that.
Emma wanted him to fail. Oh, wait, Emma, come on. So you had to like at least the end of the movie then, right?
Oh, yeah, that was fantastic. Actually, what was funny was I looked away from my screen because I was responding to a text.
Oh my
God. Goodness.
And then I just like looked back up and he's on the ground and I was like, and I had to like lean in and I was like, oh, he's dead. And then I rewinded it. And watched it over. I'm sorry.
You literally missed the 1 second. It happens. I love that.
It happens really fast. Exactly. So I didn't see it like in that 1 month, but then I rewatched it. Don't worry, we're all good. But and then yeah, I don't know.
I like what Shruti said though about Adam Sandler being someone you like just hate though, because like the character himself is very despicable, but you do like. Well, I ended up rooting for him. I can't say we
not.
now because you guys are.
I did not. Oh my god, he was such a.
It's like, yeah, he was an anti-hero. I wouldn't say like a bad guy. He's an anti-hero because of the way he treats his family. And
yeah.
Like he drags them into all of his troubles and he ends up everyone wants to cut ties with him by the end of the film.
Mm-hmm.
So he's kind of alone when he's on that floor just bleeding. But I don't know, I like hoped for the best for him. I really hated him at the beginning because he seemed like this cocky asshole who was just like, who wanted to sell trash to all these people. But then, I don't know, I love him, so that's my bias.
I feel like that's part of the. Oh, go ahead. No,
I just, the second time around, I definitely did have more empathy for him, I think. So I was glad that I did though too, because I was like, I feel like the only reason why I don't like this, one of the main reasons why I don't like this movie too, like the second time around too, was like, it's a good, like, I like how it's structured and stuff. It's just that I don't like the characters. But I was glad to see that the second time around I could have some kind of attachment to him. I was like, okay, I kind of see it. And maybe it was because I watched it right after I watched Good Time also. And I thought the same thing was going to happen with Good Time, but then it was different like when I watched Good Time versus like when I watched Uncut Gems for the first time. For some reason, like I was able to better like empathize with the main characters for some reason, even though both of them kind of have like the anti-hero kind of.
Yeah. I agree with that though. Good Time I think has a bit more heart in it, like in terms of like the characters. But I think what makes Howie so watchable is like you still understand his motivations. Like he just really wants money. He wants to win big. He wants to get that last bet. And he still has like love for his family. Like it's not like he completely like throws them aside. It's like you can see him try to like mend relationships, but you can tell they're already so slashed. Like with his daughter, when she just walks, he's like, "Oh, who are you talking with?" And she's just like, "My friend," or whatever. And he's just, it's like there's no connection there, and it's sad to see that. And you can tell like maybe like once he gets it big, maybe he'll make up with his family, but you know. That never happened.
You know the part when Idina Menzel, she's like in her bar mitzvah
dress or
bar mitzvah dress, when she's in it, and he was like, "Give me another chance." Actually, she's like, "Really?" And I'm like,
she just like laughs. She just laughs for like 5 minutes, and it's like such a painful laugh. But I couldn't. I started laughing too.
She's great. You didn't like Idina Menzel? Parthi?
No, I did. I was saying I like that part.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, she's fun.
Yeah.
She was great.
She's
I
great.
liked her a lot.
Yeah, she's so good at acting. I was so impressed.
I'm happy that
I haven't really seen her in any. Like,
Frozen.
Yeah, okay. And
I'm happy that Frozen 2 came out the same year, so it's like those were her two movies for 2019. Frozen 2. Yeah, she's also in Rent. which is a good
Yeah.
musical. The
And
movie's
Wicked,
whatever.
but
Oh, really?
on
Okay.
Broadway. Yeah. What? You don't know?
Wow.
That's
I did
literally
not
what
know
she's
that.
most
Everything,
famous
huh?
for.
Sorry, I'm not as big as a musical person as I should be.
Well, I'm not a big Wicked fan, but she's really good. So obviously, her voice is incredible. But that's and I haven't seen it like with her performing, so I don't know about her acting in musicals. But in this, she was great.
Yeah, every scene in this film she had with Adam, like it just built on the whole family drama because there's so much tension there, and it's like you can tell it's from just built up years and years, and like in the movie shows him with Julia's character first, so it's like you can tell he's already having like another affair with someone else, and she knows about it too. They confirm that later, so you can just tell that broken family relationship, and I think that's a big part of the like emotional core of the film.
I think I laugh every time she's like, "Come here and cuddle with me, Howie." I'm like, does she really talk like that? And then I watched an interview with her, and that's literally how she talks.
That's literally how she talks. Yeah.
I love her. I thought her character was so annoying at the beginning, but then I started to love her, and I just couldn't stop watching her. And then was this like her first major?
Her first, yeah.
So,
The Safdie brothers really just love getting like random people off the street to add to authenticity. I think we talked about that with The Last Black Man in San Francisco, like last week. So I think this is another movie that really understands like the location of where it takes place and like the environments. Like one of my favorites is the guy Adam Sandler always just tells to like get away from him. The guy he gives the fake Rolexes to, like, oh, not this guy. That's like a random guy they actually got off the street, which is really funny to me.
That's cool.
I didn't know that. That's funny.
Yeah, the movie actually is really comedic at points. Like it has this dark humor to it. And I think that's a thing Adam Sandler helps bring is a sense of comedy to this like really dark situation. And the whole irony of it all with like the main guy being like part of his family, which is such a interesting reveal. That's like it just adds so much to the conflict and how much his family really is against him because the antagonist is literally actually part of his family. But yeah, does anyone have any more thoughts? Or we could just get into segments right away, which I don't know how we would do with like these split reactions. Well, I guess we could talk about Julia Fox. I get what Shruti said about her being kind of annoying at the beginning, but I think her loyalty over time is what sold me on like liking her as a character. Because at first it's like, yeah, she's like all up in Howie's business and whatnot, but you can tell like there's actually love there at the end. And I really like that relationship.
Yeah, like when he gets beat up by Arno and the guys and he's like crying in his office and he has like the tissues stuffed up his nose. It's just like I was so sad like when I was watching that scene because he seemed so you don't have to shake your head and
just because I can't relate at all.
It was just really sad. He was like breaking down and I was like, oh my god, like maybe he's gonna turn around, like maybe this was the last straw. And then Julia comes in, she's like, oh Howie, and then she starts hugging him. She's like, oh how I don't remember what she says, but it had nothing to do with how he was feeling. Like she's in her own world.
Like, I'm really sad too.
Yeah, that's what she said. I'm like, Julia, now is not your time. But that's when I liked her. I was like,
I like how she shows him like her tattoo and then he's like, we can't even be buried together anymore. And it's so that scene is great because he's like balancing like 3 phone calls at the same time, right? Or is that a different scene I'm thinking of in his office? I don't know. I don't remember.
Might have been an earlier scene. I'm not
There's
sure.
just so many scenes where like multiple things are happening at once.
Yeah.
Which I think is one of the unique parts I find about this movie is just the way it just like hits you with different problems every second.
You know, I think that might have been one of the reasons why I didn't like it the first time I was watching it though. And maybe I think that's just like one of the things that contributes to me just not liking it in general is like I do enjoy that they juggle so many things happening at once, but I think I like it when they use it in moderation and it's not like happening like for every second of the movie because I feel like I'm so overwhelmed by so much of it all the time that I get really exhausted watching it. And that's like one of the reasons why I don't like it, but I would have liked it if they like had cut back on it just a little bit. I will acknowledge that it is like part of his world and like that's just like the chaos of his world too, but I think just for me to be able to like breathe in his world for a second would have been nice, but I do understand that that's like kind of the point that of what they're trying to make you feel. But yeah, like it's probably just like a personal choice too, but it just feels like a lot at the same time, which is why it starts to get numbed out in my head and it starts to like get a little bit boring for me. But
yeah, I get that. It was like when I saw it in theaters, I was really bored at the beginning and I was honestly considering just leaving because
Oh wow.
I was like, I don't know what's happening. I should just forget that I came here. But then I don't know how or when, but at some point I just got sucked into the film. And like all the overlapping, I liked how the dialogue was overlapping like crazy and you couldn't really understand what one person was talking about or doing. And yeah, it's kind of like because of it's about his world and how it's just full of chaos and he can't focus on one thing ever. He never really does get one thing completed. So then I don't know, at the end I kind of liked that and everything slowed down at the end. Like once he won, that's when like the music started to fade out and it seemed like, oh, maybe we'll be able to breathe, and then he dies.
Literally does no longer breathe at the end.
Yeah. Nice.
That's very interesting that it was, yeah, it took me a while to get on board with it too. I guess it's because there really is no like main plot thread other than like the opal, I think, but then eventually they all start to interweave pretty well. And that just like ramps up the tension for me, I think, because like then all his problems seem to be stacking on top of each other. Yeah. But I guess we could move into segments now. Shruti, we do this thing where we talk about our favorite parts and whatnot. But since half this podcast doesn't have
I just like panicked because I was like, wait, I have to pick a favorite part.
Surely you must have a favorite. Let's start with Emma. Come on, one part. You have to name one part of the movie.
That's so hard because I didn't like the movie.
So when you say you don't like the movie, you literally mean you like don't like any part of the movie.
No. It's a very muted experience for me. But like what I'm saying, it's all me. It's all me. Like the movie's great for most people. I just feel like the reason why I don't like it is just my, like, you know, when there's a movie and you just watch it and you're like, I don't get it. I just don't. No, it's not my type of movie. That's exactly how I feel.
But I feel like there's still parts to appreciate, just like the Safdie brothers style, I think, just the way they light scenes.
Oh, I was gonna say, I don't really like the Safdie brothers style of directing, so I think that's another thing, because Good Times...
Shruti facepalmed,
I know, I know, I just don't, it's, you know, there's a director where you don't really like their style, and that's how I feel about them, because Good Times fine, Good Times better in my opinion, but I still don't really like it.
Dom, who's a friend of all of us, he talked about how like the Safdie brothers seem to write for lighting, and that's just like that statement just sticks in my head whenever I watch their movies now, because they always find ways to do like a clever lighting setup. And
the blacklight stuff.
The blacklight stuff, yeah, that's like the most obvious like example. It's like, I won't sing unless the blacklight's on. The blacklight on. But yeah, just like even the way they frame their characters in such a claustrophobic space is like the not being able to breathe is such a big part, it seems, because even the camera doesn't seem to be able to breathe. And I just love that part of their style. It just seems so gritty and so like realistic, but like because you're like all up in their face, you know, it's like you're there, really there with them. And that's what I really appreciated about their style, even though Emma doesn't. Parvati, do you have a part you just want to shout out? If not, it's fine.
No, I think just the part that I brought up earlier with Idina Menzel, I just thought that part was so like, it just felt so, for me at least, like the first time that I watched it, it felt so like out of character for him, because I was like, really, you're gonna go through with all of this and only now you're gonna be like saying that there's other ways you can fix this, and like you think that saying sorry is gonna fix her too, because like you can just see the amount of like turmoil she's gone through with their relationship too. And then like just her response, it wasn't even like it doesn't give you the satisfaction of her like blowing up on him. It just gives you like this such a like purely sarcastic, like just out of sheer like hysteria, that's what her like reaction was. And I just thought that was so perfect, and like that was like the best part of her acting part, and just probably the whole movie for me, I guess, because it was like the one part that I was like, yeah girl, tell him no. Yeah, I think that was probably just my favorite part, because it was just like enjoyable to watch. Yeah.
I like the scene when he tries to tell them to leave the house because he's afraid they're gonna be in trouble. She was like so done with him already at that part. She was like, "What are you talking about? There's no like gas leak or whatever." But yeah, Shruti, do you have a favorite scene you want to pick out?
I mean, it's hard. I didn't have an idea for which part was my favorite scene before coming here, because I don't know, I see the movie as like one whole story. It's just like this movie specifically is really hard for me to break down into pieces. But I like the part when Howie goes into the club and he sees Julia and The Weeknd, who I love, that's in this movie. Like, I was like, what? And they're doing coke in the bathroom and he gets super jealous, and then Julia starts chasing after him, like begging him to stay, but also like saying like, fuck you, I never liked you, but I love you, no, Howie, don't leave. I'm like, what's happening? Or when he was trapped in the trunk and he had to call his wife to come and get him, and just watching her like quickly like run to the car in her heels while her daughter is performing on stage. She opens and sees that she's like, what the fuck happened? I was like, this is great.
Yeah, I want to mention this with Parvati's point. I feel like the reason he was like trying to get back at her is because he was already super mad at Julia for the whole weekend scene, and that's why he was trying to get back with Idina Menzel's character.
Oh, that's true.
And that's why he was like, take me back, because he was already done with Julia, and then she like did something with the apartment. I don't know exactly what she did. She sent him like a text or something, but he was mad at her about that. But yeah, that scene with the trunk, that's just like, that was already the end of like a whole sequence at that school, which is crazy. Starting off with him and his family going into a chase scene, getting put in the car and getting stuffed in the trunk. It's just that whole sequence. The Safdie brothers, I think they really know how to play scenes out like in a realistic fashion, and it goes on just long enough where it's like, please get us out of this scenario, because it's so tense the whole time. And I think Good Time also has a lot of scenes like that. But yeah, in terms of favorite scenes for me, any scene with Kevin Garnett was like my favorite.
I knew you were gonna say that.
Yeah, like even the auction scene where he says like nothing. He's just whispering to his.
It's like the back of his head.
He's like,
most of the time.
it's okay. And JJ's like, oh, King.
No, because like, you know, when a basketball player wants to do a movie with Adam Sandler, they star in a stupid comedy with Adam Sandler, you know? It's like Shaquille O'Neal is like a security guard in a parking lot. But Kevin Garnett, he's like, you know what? Let's do this serious role, dude. I'll be like a hyper realistic version of myself. And he did great, I think. Like I've seen reviews where they're like, they didn't know he was a real basketball player, which I think is the best compliment he could have gotten for his role. And I think knowing he's Kevin Garnett, I think adds something, because it adds like a presence, like this realistic like figure in the film. So when Howie's trying to impress him, it's like, yeah, this is a guy you should really sell. Like, that's why I really like the buzzer scene too, where it's broken and he's trying to like hammer out the thing. It's like, dude, hurry up, because he's gonna be so mad at you. And like, I love that scene a lot. And like Keith Steinfeld, I don't know how to say his name very well. He's great in that scene too.
He's amazing.
And that's when he was like completely done with Howie. He has this look in this scene where he just like does like a little like head grab face palm. It's one of my favorite shots in the film, because the camera just moves really quickly and he's just like so done. And it's just really great acting by him. But in terms of acting, we can just go into favorite performance. If you guys want to shout out other performances than Adam Sandler and Kevin Garnett. Or Idina Menzel too.
Yeah, I was going to say.
We basically mentioned a lot of the characters already.
I think we mentioned,
Mostly, yeah.
I can't think of anyone.
Wait, what is the name of the actor that plays that one guy who's like Kevin Garnett's like person? I forgot.
Keith Steinfeld?
Yeah, oh, okay, yeah.
Damani in the film.
Damani, yes. I liked him.
Yeah.
He was so angry. Like, I wanted to slap him so many times. I was so mad at him.
But he's such a good actor, because he's the guy who's kidnapped in Get Out, the first guy who's like can't give a handshake.
Oh my god,
that's him. Yeah. He's in Sorry to Bother You.
Yeah, really good in Sorry to Bother You. Incredible in Sorry to Bother You.
And in Knives Out, he's like the calm police detective who doesn't do.
Range.
He's got range.
A lot range.
He's
great. Actor. Damn, good for him. Like,
he's in Atlanta too, but I've never seen Atlanta. But
I haven't seen that.
Yeah, but he's great. This is one of my favorite roles of his, actually, because he is like such an annoyance to Howie, and it's like, why is he being straight with him, but you can tell Howie's also not being straight with him.
Mhm.
So just that conflict there just like allows those two actors to bounce off each other really well. And
Yeah.
the scene where he dumps Gatorade into the fish tank is another great scene. And
That's what he puts in the fish.
Yeah, he's gonna kill the fish.
He puts Gatorade in it?
Yeah, something
Yeah.
like that. Yeah, so our next segment is nitpicks, I guess. You guys have a lot. If you could boil down like one thing you really don't like about the movie, go ahead. If you can't, I can just go too.
I feel like, okay, because I feel like I have the same argument with, like, as Emma, where like a lot of it is not really stuff that the movie could have done. A lot of it is just kind of like personal preference almost. Like,
same.
The main reason why, like, I feel like I can acknowledge and I can appreciate what they did for the movie that was good for it. Like, just like how I can tell, like, oh, it made me feel stressed, but like that's what the movie is trying to tell you to be like, and it's supposed to make you uncomfortable, but it made me uncomfortable in a different way. Like, it's just me as like a personally it affected me differently, I think, but I can acknowledge and understand why it's there. So like I don't have a lot of like actual nitpicks of like, in this filmmaking method you could have changed it this way or whatever. I think the only thing that I could really say that is like how what I said before, where I feel like a lot of the chaos should have, in my opinion, I feel like it could have been cut down just a little bit more so that it goes with a different, it goes like at a slower pace, so you feel more, I feel more stressed out at the specific parts that they do have all of the chaos happening. Just because I think the pace for me, when it's so much of chaos like all the time, I start to get like numbed out to it, and I kind of just don't care as much, and I just want it to be over already. So I think that's one thing. And also just like I didn't love the characters or anything the first time around. Like I had some sort of attachment to them, but it was like whatever. And also I just didn't like the music that much too. Like it was very like annoying to me to hear. It like hurt my ears a lot of the time to watch too.
What?
I don't know if that's
the
part
glowy
of the experience
music,
too.
synth music was
The
hurt
synth.
your
I don't know,
ears?
it was too much. It was like
That's funny.
I mean,
burned
honestly,
here.
I agree with that. I wasn't a fan of the music too much either.
I know. I'm typically a synth fan. I love me some synth like score.
Drive, some
Just,
drive.
didn't really like the synth in this, but that's okay.
Yeah, I think I didn't like it the first time I watched it, but the second time, like, I'm like, oh, I recognize these tracks. Like, it's actually like, it gives me like a feeling that I'm watching this specific movie. Like, this feels like Uncut Gems. So I think I liked it more the second time I watched it. I don't know why you guys hate the synth, man. Come on. It's kind of
I love
simplistic.
synth. I don't
It isn't like
though.
your normal film score, obviously.
I will say, I don't think I can see this movie without the synth score, though. If that's kind of like what you're saying, it's you hear the music and you're like, oh yeah, well that's
Uncut, yeah.
So it fits,
Yeah.
but I just didn't like it.
Like one synth score that I really love is a Stranger Things score, because I think it's so like perfect, and it's also just so nice to listen to. Like I
It
love
is very
listening to it on my
pleasant.
free
I
time too.
love it.
And yeah, so I don't know, like this one just hit kind of different, and maybe it's also like to go along with like how the movie is supposed to feel too. It kind of like is stressful to listen to or like stressful to watch a little bit.
I
if
know
goes
the
along
music
with it.
wasn't stressful to me. I think that.
Oh. Yeah, that's why I feel like a lot of it is probably just like the way that it affected me personally is probably just different than most.
The synth made me feel like I was floating in the air, like I was hovering over.
Synth
like I was
usually does that to people.
Yeah,
It's a powerful instrument. That's why I'm a personal fan of synth.
I mean, like the music during like the inside the opal sequence, it's like you are going through the universe. And when he says they see the whole universe in it, I'm like, yes, yeah, we saw it. It's exactly how. Yeah. And then it turns out to be his ass, but that's fine. Shruti, do you have any problems with Uncut Gems?
I mean, I tell people like, oh, if you're gonna go watch this film, do not watch it with your family, because the one scene that I really hate, and well, I mean, I could live without it. I wouldn't say, I mean, no, I do hate it, was when Adam Sandler sneaks into Julia's apartment and is watching her through the closet. That scene made me very uncomfortable, and I like tried to figure out like, okay, I mean, I guess it shows a part of their relationship that he can do that, and she thinks it's cute.
Yeah,
Like
what?
It scares her. It's a surprise party.
It's like
no, it's not a surprise party.
But I felt super uncomfortable, and I could live without that scene.
All right, I watched it with my parents the second time with the knowledge of that scene, and when it came up, I'm like, okay, this is going to be the most awkward part of this viewing experience.
That's funny.
But yeah, but I guess my problem with the movie is like, oh, I guess it's also a strength. The movie is the most authentic basketball movie I've ever seen in my life. It is like every conversation about basketball is just so natural to me. Like the Jeremy Lin conversation, this is like I've had these conversations. This is what people actually say and talk about. But I think there is problems with like too much authenticity. It's like I know like what happens and whatnot, and one of it is like during the end, it's like there's like this tense moment, like, oh, is he gonna make the free throw? Like, are they gonna win the game? But they're already up like 10. Like the game, that you could tell if you watch basketball, that game is over. I don't know why they're scared at that point. They won the money. And it's like the movie tried to squeeze out like one last moment there, but I didn't feel any tension. That's when like it's like I know who wins here, and like I already know who won the series too, so it's not like the game had too much pressure for me at that moment. So I guess that was like one moment where the realism like hurt it, but it was just so refreshing to see like real world basketball in a movie. Because I mentioned Drive earlier because of the synth music, but Drive has one of the most egregious basketball scenes I've ever seen on the TV, and it's like the most fake basketball game I've ever seen in my life. So it was nice seeing like real footage and like real like actual broadcasts, like that's ESPN and TNT. Even though Howie mixes it up in one scene, which was kind of like a nitpick. Like, why do you say ESPN when it was clearly on TNT? But you know, whatever. I just like the basketball aspect of it. It's just I can't think of like Space Jam isn't realistic. White Man Can't Jump is about people at a park, and Drive has that horrible basketball footage, even though it has authentic radio calls. So it was nice seeing that in a movie.
I just registered what you said about Space Jam, and it made me laugh, like really delayed. But it's because I wasn't like fully there when you said Space Jam.
Because people say Space Jam's the greatest basketball movie, right? But obviously that's not a basketball.
What do you mean? It is the most. No, it's okay. I literally have no idea. But it just took me off guard when you said Space Jam. Oh my god! Wow.
Oh, I just wanted to say, to go off of like Shruti's point about like you shouldn't watch it with your family. I actually watched this with my sister because she wanted to see it, and like she's an up and coming film major, so I was like, okay, watch this movie with me.
Did she like it?
She actually liked it. She was like, I don't know why you were so bored by it, because the whole time I felt really like excited by it, and I was like, okay.
Oh, let's go. That's some taste on your sister.
That's
right there. Oh,
you're saying we're tasteless?
Dang.
Yes.
Yeah, she liked it actually, and we skipped the part when he's like in her apartment. So I was like, you don't really need to see this, so we just skipped past that. Yeah.
I would say my biggest nitpick probably is, and I think like you were explaining it, JJ, like the structure of it is like a basketball game, but for me it felt just really disjointed, which I think it's supposed to, but to me it just wasn't like, I didn't like the way that the story was structured.
Yeah.
I don't know. But I also agree with Parvati. I think most of it is literally personal preference, because most of my problems with it don't come from like the actual film. It's like itself in a way. I don't know.
Yeah, like the filmmaking of it.
Yeah, no, it's nothing to do with the filmmaking.
It's not like an Adam Sandler comedy film.
Yeah, exactly. Like that. Okay, we can.
I'm sorry, Shruti, if you like Adam Sandler comedy films.
I love them.
I think the first Grown Ups is watchable.
No,
it is
not Grown Ups. I'd say like 50 First Dates. I love.
Okay, that is not a dumb Adam Sandler comedy. That is a weird combination of his comedic movies and his dramatic movies into one experience. 50 First Dates. I like 50 First Dates too.
I just don't.
Have you seen Punch Drunk Love, Shruti?
I just saw it recently. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Did you like it?
I liked it.
That's also another movie with style that might be off-putting to people.
It was funny at some points, but I feel like I wasn't really into it until like close to the end.
I can see that.
Gotcha.
But yeah, before we end on Uncut Gems, about the basketball thing, it's like the movie is structured like a game where it's like unstoppable tension, because basketball is just people running back and forth, and it doesn't stop until the quarter breaks and halftime. And the movie does have those like 4 breaks, with an extended one being the Passover scene. and I just found that it made the movie feel really unique, but also like it's realistic because like life doesn't have structure. Not to get all existential on everybody, but like it's just like these are how the events would just play out. It's not like we would have like a 3 act structure to our lives and our moments, but it just makes it unique to me. But anyone else have anything to say about Uncut Gems before we move on to Good Time?
Watch the movie.
Yes, watch it, like it, hate it, and choose your side. Hashtag Team Howie or hashtag Team I Hate Sandler. So.
Yeah, I'm hashtag I Hate Sandler. I'm the lead member of the
founding member.
I'm hashtag Team Medina.
Oh, yeah, Elsa. Hashtag Elsa.
Hashtag Elsa. Yeah.
It's just so funny. That's your 2 movies.
I know. It's fantastic.
All right. Good
Good
time. Who wants to start off on that? Because I feel like I ended Uncut Gems, so I shouldn't keep talking.
I mean, cousin could start because she likes the Safdie brothers.
Okay. So I had really, really high expectations for this film because I put it off for a while and JJ kept talking to me about it. And I kept thinking like, okay, maybe it's really great and I'm missing something, so I'll just check it out. And I also saw the trailer and I was like, I don't know if I'm interested. And then I really just went in because Robert Pattinson and I love him. But it was good. I definitely like Uncut Gems a lot better. I watched it with my family and they all hated it. They like hated it. Once we were done, they're like, "Why did you put this on?"
Damn.
Oh wow.
I want to apologize to your family.
They said the same thing about Drive too. They hated Drive.
Oh, interesting.
But also I didn't like Drive. Anyway, I mean, it was
Emma kind of shook her head and Parthi did a pretty dramatic reaction.
I'm fine with people not liking Drive.
I'm actually fine with people not liking Drive either.
Yeah, I understand it. Like
I can understand it too.
But I like it. I understand.
Okay, continue.
But I mean, I guess I liked it mainly for Rob's character. Like I read up on his character and like why everybody liked him so much. But it was because he was like confident and sexy and like being all like cool when he was in situations that were like where he didn't need to be. Like he was in a very desperate situation. He was just like talking vulnerable people into doing whatever he wanted without them realizing it.
Yeah.
But I felt that sort of personal connection. Like I really wanted him to get his brother out of there because Benny Safdie was great. I don't know. I feel like I connected more to the character, like Howie's character in Uncut Gems better. Like I rooted for him more than I did Connie. Yeah, Connie.
Yeah, Connie. Yeah. Emma, do you want to go? Because you had some reactions to share.
Faces.
I know. I was gonna say I like Good Time more because, which for the opposite reason of what you like Uncut Gems more. I think it's way easier to connect to the characters in Good Time. I like found myself rooting for them or not liking them in certain moments, which was better. And I did not feel that way at all in the slightest with most of the characters in Uncut Gems. So that's obviously like a main reason why I like Good Time more. But I also think that I don't really it's not my favorite movie. The like tone is kind of weird at times, and I think that was off-putting. And I like the structure of Good Time more than Uncut Gems because it's more of like your typical like 3-act structure kind of in a way.
Yeah.
But
it was easier to follow.
It is. It's way easier to follow, and it felt like it felt more enjoyable for me. Obviously, because I had such a harsh reaction against Uncut Gems, so it's not that hard to feel better. But yeah, and there was moments in it that I actually like really enjoyed, and I would watch certain like clips again. Would I watch the movie again? Probably not, because it's not really my type of film. I just don't really like suspense like cinema kind of, because it doesn't really work on me as well. I don't know.
Yeah.
I felt
Arfi, you want to go?
similarly. Yeah, I felt similarly where like I felt like I could empathize more with the characters. And also just because like Connie's character itself too, like I feel like the difference between Connie and Howie for me is that Howie didn't have qualities that I specifically like admired or anything, but then Connie was like he was so cunning and like he knew how to outsmart people and he knew how to like take advantage of people by using their like vulnerabilities and stuff too, which is a really bad thing, but also at the same time the way that he was so clever about all of it and the way that he was able to like finesse his way into like all of these different situations was just really cool to me. And so that was like my main thing for why I like actually wanted to root for him and actually wanted to finish the movie and see what ended up happening. So I think that's why Good Time was a lot easier for me to watch and a lot more enjoyable too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it still had that feeling of like chaos, like constant chaos, where I felt like I still needed like some time to breathe in between. And so that was also another reason why like I don't think I would rewatch it again, but it was definitely a better experience for me than Uncut Gems was. So
Yeah, in terms of the whole like Connie and Howie thing that started, I guess, it in terms of like character, I think I liked Howie more in terms like I think I rooted for Howie more than Connie because I feel like a lot of Connie's sympathies comes from his brother. Like he loves his brother, but in terms of a human being, like in terms of taking over people's vulnerabilities, it's hard for me to like someone like that. But he is an interesting character to watch because of how like smart he is, how quick-witted he is, and how he can like think of solutions like on the fly, even though he doesn't think of like the long-term like implications of things he does. He just thinks of like short-term solutions, and he keeps stacking those. But eventually, of course, it all
mm-hmm.
crumbles down on itself. But it was so interesting to see him like come up with a solution right on the spot and like trying to solve problems by just talking to people, which is really fun to
Yeah,
watch.
like the cover up after cover up was really interesting for me to see. Like I that felt more like something I was interested in seeing rather than like the stacked problems that Howie was going through almost. Yeah, just like the quick thinking was really cool to me.
Yeah, in terms of like the watchability of the movies we were just talking about, I feel like after watching both movies twice, I liked Uncut Gems more initially because of how straightforward it was and like this the way the story just flowed much better. But I think after watching them both, I think Uncut Gems is more rewatchable for me because I think there's a lot more to digest there. Because I feel like the second time I watched Good Time, I was just like, yeah, I've kind of experienced this already. I know what he does. So the roller coaster isn't as thrilling, but I
Mm.
still think it's a really great movie with a lot of with like Safdie brothers style, which I actually really like, and the way this movie goes all out with the claustrophobia. I think more than Uncut Gems. Like there's
Mm-hmm.
barely any wides. They give you like one
Yeah,
scene, and then that's it. You're
I
stuck
like that.
for the rest of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But we could just go straight into segments now. Like a favorite scene you guys liked from Good Time. Everyone just had that thinking face, like put their
I have to think. I have to really like.
because the scenes in this movie I think go on for a while. Like he stays at that
Yeah,
house with the girl and her grandma for a long time, and it just like it's like
yeah.
long enough, but it's also has so many problems in there. So it's like, oh, we're here for a while, but there's always something like a new problem that comes up. Like he dyes his hair. The girl is like always like in his business, and then it turns out that's not even his brother, which is one of the biggest twists in the whole thing. I love that moment. But yeah, I think my favorite though would be like the carnival scene when the guy from Captain Phillips
Mhm.
comes in, and poor man, that guy goes through it. I forgot
Yeah.
they poured the Sprite. The
Yeah.
Oh,
I was like,
that
that's
was
way too much.
I was laughing because of how like dark it was. Like they really just they did that, and
Yeah.
I'm like, it's kind of smart that they did that, but holy crap, they
that's
really.
so scary though, because I'm like, did he survive? Like, what happened to him? Because literally
I
two
know.
drops would have been enough for him to be like already out of
Mhm.
this world.
Yeah.
But like,
And who knows how much was in that bottle? They just poured it.
oh
Yeah.
my god.
Damn.
I like
Wow.
how the Sprite bottle kind of has the same value as the Opal and Uncut Gems. Like they're both given like this mystical feel to them. It's like these are like the holy objects, like the MacGuffins, right? Essentially, but they have such like a presence to them. But at the end of this movie, it's like thrown to the side of the street, and it's like no one will know what that
Mhm.
actually meant to people,
Yeah.
which was really interesting. But yeah, do you guys have any other scenes, or did I mention like some bangers right there?
I kind of yeah. I enjoyed the whole segment when they were in the carnival place. Like especially like we were talking about the lighting in both of the movies too was really interesting.
Yes.
And just I think it added that it was cool because it was kind of like a surreal, spooky feeling because they were inside this kind of horror house area too. So I just thought that was like a fun little thing to watch. But yeah, I think just like the aesthetic of that was interesting to watch.
Yeah, definitely. I also like when I can't remember exactly what happens, but I like the apartment scene at like kind of near the end.
Oh, yeah, with the dog.
Yeah, I like that scene. I don't really know how to explain, but it's just I feel like that's when it's like peak suspense and like
I liked
fun.
his one comment earlier where he's like, I think I was a dog in a past life. That's why they like me so much. And that just came back. This is really great. Robert Pattinson is
funny.
great.
Yeah, no, he's I think the reason why I like Good Time more is because I find Robert Pattinson's character a little bit more likable. Like obviously totally not like at all would like him in real life, but in the movie sense it's easier to connect to his character a little bit more, and it obviously is pretty much because of his brother, but I don't know.
Shruti, do you have
my favorite scene, I don't know, it was when like like Ray was in the back of the car and he started explaining like how he got there. I was just laughing.
Oh right, yes, I totally forgot.
When like just his narration, like me and my mom were like, that was the only time my mom like laughed. Or
that was
smiled.
a short film in the middle of the whole movie.
Yeah, I
just
remember
it was so funny. Yeah,
that's so.
I don't know the actor's name. I should have had some notes up, but
I did like that part actually a lot. That was interesting.
that
I was like, you're just telling this guy your whole story. Okay.
and he's like, I don't care.
Yeah, it was like specifically like preceded by him saying, please shut up, let me think. And he's like, okay, I'll let you think, but first let me tell you how I and like he's great. That guy was so fun to watch. He really added like an injection of life into that second half of the movie for me.
Definitely.
Yeah, thank you for bringing that scene up.
That like
if we didn't
I completely forgot that scene.
That's not an insult to the scene. I don't know.
No, not at all.
We were just Connie heavily. Robert Pattinson got us under his spell. All right. Shruti, you know these two haven't seen Twilight?
What?
Yeah,
well, I watched it once, but it was like I was really distracted. Like I was doing other stuff, so I basically didn't watch it.
Joking.
Actually,
oh my god.
Have I seen them all?
I was like, I will not give in to this teenage pressure. I refuse.
Cousin.
Hey, it's okay. I saw him in Harry Potter, so it's fine. That's all that matters.
Yeah,
I don't like him in Harry Potter. I don't like him Cedric
either.
Diggory. Ugh.
I mean, okay. You have to watch Twilight.
Yep. I will eventually. I think I'll watch it with some friends because I don't want to watch it alone.
Oh.
No, I'm just kidding. No. I'm not going to pick Twilight for my movie Rex.
Wow.
Before we go into that, because we're almost at an hour, actually. Does anyone have anything else to say about Good Time? Does anyone have nitpicks or a performance they want to shout out? We'll just combine those two.
One scene that I think I could have gone without was when he like it's kind of funny though the way it happens, but it's like him and the girl are watching the TV and then he like starts kissing her because he's just like, I'm gonna distract her.
No, because he shows up on the TV. Because he shows up on the.
No,
I know that, but I feel like he could have done anything, like something else.
What is he gonna do?
He could have like slapped her or like pushed her.
I think just the fact that it kept going after that too, like it actually escalated too. I was like, nah, you gotta.
Okay, I agree with that escalation part.
Yeah.
I was like, what? She's 15, 16?
I know.
And you're like, what are you doing?
I know. Oh
my god.
Yeah. And also my nitpick from before about like the music in this one also hurt for me to hear, and I was like, okay.
Really? I don't remember the music from this one.
It's also synth, also a driving
It
synth.
is? Yeah. Wow, I feel bad now. But I don't know. I don't remember it, so that's
okay. I think it does a good job setting the mood, but I don't remember a specific track. But like when it comes on, I really like it. Like the opening credits that come in like 15 minutes after the film started. I love that part. And the title
I liked that one.
Time was really sick.
Oh yeah, I liked the title sequence too. I liked that one specifically. I liked that like sequence of the song, but I think it's mostly when it's like the parts of the film are like escalating and things too. It just like really hurts for me to hear it, and it contributes to the tension of the movie. Don't get me wrong, but it's just like I don't like it. Like I don't like listening to it at all. So yeah, that's my main nitpicks though.
Anyone else have anything to plug about Good Time?
Mm,
I could go. Like,
Oh,
Shruti,
yeah.
wait, which one of the Safdie brothers plays
yeah, I was gonna ask because his
Benny.
performance is really good.
Benny?
That's
Yeah,
what I was gonna shout out.
he was great. Yeah.
He was really, really good. That was probably like my favorite performance. I don't know.
No, he's great, and it's like whenever you watch him, it's like, oh no, please don't. But you feel so bad for him. It's just, he's just put in a terrible situation.
I know. See, like I definitely felt way more for the characters in this because, like, even thinking back now, I feel so many emotions towards it.
Their dynamic reminds me of like George and Lenny from what's it called? What's that John Stein? Yeah,
Mice and Men. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
I think it's supposed to be that way.
Okay.
I didn't
that makes
think
sense.
about that. Yeah.
No, because that is almost exactly their characters from.
Yeah.
That
so
is
I
very much
assumed
so.
I assumed that the story was gonna go along those lines or something, just because the dynamic seems so obvious to me.
It's very different.
Yeah.
Mice and Men is such like a peaceful novel to a certain extent, and then like Good Time is definitely not that.
Yeah, like I thought Benny's character was gonna be in it longer, and that like a lot more problems were gonna be caused because of him. I thought,
but he is kind of
wasn't in it.
hospitalized.
Yeah, he wasn't in it as much as I would have liked to see actually, because I feel
to
like
direct the movie.
Yeah, he was also directing. So.
Okay, but who was directing when he was
Wow.
in front of the camera, huh?
Brother.
So his brother couldn't take over for the rest of it?
His brother plays every other character. You just didn't realize.
Oh, God. So that's okay. No. I understand now.
I don't know. I would have liked to see more of him though, because I feel like if he had contributed more to the story, I would have felt even more for the movie too.
I can see that point.
Yeah, I can also see that. I agree.
But I well, it's not a but. It's just I love the last scene with his character. It's kind of bittersweet.
Yeah.
It's like he's finally at a place where he can like, talk to people and develop, but it's also like at the beginning it's like there's like a sense of sadness to it for some reason with the song that plays. And like you remember Connie's words at the beginning where he's like, you don't want to be here with these people, or like you don't belong here. But it's like this slow acceptance. It's really kind of sad. Oh, okay. We got a pop. All right. Does anyone have anything else to say about Good Time, or does that wrap that up too?
I think that's pretty good.
Pretty good, yeah. Shout out to Jennifer Jason Leigh, who's in the movie for 5 minutes. She's Connie's girlfriend who tries to pay on her mom's credit card.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Actually, I'm not a fan of her.
Okay, cool.
Jake Gyllenhaal to Parvati is her to me.
See, everyone has their person. That's like me with.
Oh my God.
Her divorce with Noah Baumbach is what inspired Marriage Story. By the way.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Get it? Actress, wife, director, husband, kind of thing.
Oh wow, that's really pretentious.
Not to throw any shade on Noah Baumbach or Greta Gerwig. Sorry, they're listeners too, guys. We love you.
We love you. Oh my God, we love them.
Please adopt me.
Me first, actually. Come on, I've been calling it mom and dad right there.
Okay,
That's true.
yeah.
You have. Okay.
Yeah, I will.
But
give that
I
to
also wouldn't mind being adopted by both the Safdie brothers,
you.
or make me another Safdie brother. So
An honorary
so
brother.
both of them can be in, and then I can direct, so they can both act. It doesn't need to be like. Yep. Cool. Well, Shruti, that's it. Thank you for joining us on the Silver Hour. You survived.
Yay!
Yes, fun.